Have you ever felt like you're giving your all in a relationship, yet something feels off? Maybe he takes hours or even days to reply, avoids making concrete plans, or only shows up when it's convenient for him. It's frustrating, right? You wonder if it's just his personality or a clear sign he's not serious about the relationship. Picture this. You're waiting for his call after a heartfelt conversation about your future together. But instead of following up, he disappears for days. When he finally texts back, it's casual, as if nothing happened. Deep down, you can't shake the feeling that you deserve more. A partner who prioritizes you, respects your time, and sees a future with you. In this video, we'll uncover the 7 unmistakable signs he's not serious about you and connect them to timeless Stoic wisdom to empower your decisions. Each point is designed to help you identify these red flags and make choices that honor your worth and emotional well-being. If this resonates with you, stay with me, because we'll also explore actionable ways to reclaim your confidence and find clarity in your relationship. Don't forget to share this video with someone who might need it. They deserve clarity too. Lastly, comment below. What signs have you noticed in your relationships that made you question his commitment? Let's create a supportive space to share and grow together. Now, let's dive into the 7 signs you shouldn't ignore. 1. Lack of prioritization. When someone genuinely values you, their actions will reflect it. Prioritization in a relationship isn't about extravagant displays of affection or grand gestures. It's about consistency, thoughtfulness, and the effort to show they care. It's in the small details. Responding to your texts promptly because they're thinking of you, making time to hear about your day, and ensuring you feel seen and appreciated. But when he habitually puts his work, hobbies, or social circle ahead of you, it sends a clear and painful message. You are not his priority. At first, you might rationalize his behavior. Perhaps he's overwhelmed at work, or maybe he's just not great at communicating. You convince yourself that things will improve with time, or that you need to be more understanding. Yet his pattern of slow responses, missed calls, and unfulfilled promises begins to erode your confidence. You find yourself waiting for him to acknowledge you, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days. And when he does, it's often vague or dismissive, leaving you wondering if you're even a significant part of his life. The weight of this neglect affects more than just your emotional state. It begins to seep into your sense of self-worth. You question your expectations, asking yourself if you're asking for too much. You replay interactions in your mind, wondering if you've been too demanding or if there's something you should change about yourself to hold his attention. This cycle of self-doubt not only drains your energy, but also distorts your perception of love. A relationship where you are not prioritized is not just unfair, it's harmful. It reduces your ability to focus on your own goals and well-being, as you're constantly trying to fill in the gaps he leaves behind. You deserve a partner who values your time, who considers your needs, and who shows up consistently, even in the smallest ways. Love should feel like a partnership, not a game of waiting for crumbs of attention. The first step in reclaiming your confidence is recognizing the truth. His inability to prioritize you is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of his capacity, or lack thereof, to commit. Observe his patterns with clarity. Does he always have an excuse for being absent? Is he consistently unavailable when you need him most? These patterns speak volumes. Once you recognize this, you can start shifting your focus back to yourself. Set firm boundaries to protect your time and energy. Make space for activities, relationships, and experiences that bring you joy. When you prioritize your happiness, you create an environment where genuine love and respect can flourish. As Stoic philosophy teaches, we must focus on what we can control. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, a person's worth is measured by what they prioritize. In the same way, a partner who values you will naturally make you a priority. Instead of fixating on his behavior, shift your energy toward what you can influence: your own growth, your own choices, and your own happiness. This doesn't mean shutting off your emotions or hardening your heart. It means channeling your love and attention toward people and pursuits that reciprocate your effort. Consider this scenario. You've been dating someone for 6 months. In the beginning, he seemed attentive and enthusiastic, but over time, his interest feels sporadic. You've noticed that he only texts back hours after you've messaged him, often giving brief and impersonal replies. When you suggest meeting for dinner, he tells you he's too busy, yet you see him post photos of himself at a friend's party. On a Saturday night, you're sitting at home, waiting for his call, only to realize it's not coming. At first, you internalize the disappointment. You wonder if you're being too needy or if your expectations are unrealistic. You try to accommodate his schedule, hoping he'll notice your patience and effort. But the pattern doesn't change. One day, it hits you. This relationship is taking far more from you than it's giving. You decide to act differently. Instead of waiting for him to reach out, you make plans with your friends. You book that yoga class you've been putting off. You start journaling again, reflecting on what you want in a partner. Slowly, your confidence returns. The silence that once felt heavy now feels like freedom. When he finally texts, asking why you seem distant, you respond calmly. I've realized that I deserve someone who prioritizes me the way I prioritize them. Your words are not meant to punish him, but to affirm your own growth. Whether or not he changes is irrelevant. What matters is that you've chosen yourself. Stoic wisdom reminds us of the strength that comes from focusing on our inner world. Epictetus taught, freedom is the ability to live as you wish. In relationships, freedom means knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and love are precious and should be given only to those who value them. So, as you reflect on your relationship, ask yourself, is he showing up in ways that demonstrate commitment and care? If not, it's time to step back and honor your value. Prioritize your own growth, confidence, and happiness. A healthy relationship begins when both partners prioritize and uplift one another, and anything less is not worth of your time. Comment "My time is valuable" below if you believe in protecting your time, energy, and emotional well-being. This simple yet powerful statement affirms that you recognize your worth and will no longer settle for less than you deserve. It's a declaration of self-respect and a reminder that your time should be cherished by those who truly value you. Let's stand together in this belief and inspire others to do the same. 2. Empty promises and lack of action. Promises are meant to build trust, not erode it. Yet, words that consistently go unsupported by actions can create a false sense of hope, leaving you waiting for something that never comes. Over time, repeated empty promises expose not only his unreliability but also a lack of meaningful investment in the relationship. These broken commitments don't just disappoint, they reveal a deeper issue, a superficial level of commitment that undermines the foundation of trust. At the start, you might find his words convincing. When he promises a romantic weekend getaway or vows to spend more quality time together, you take his word at face value. But as the promises go unfulfilled, you begin to notice a pattern. Excuses follow every unkept commitment. You're left disappointed and hurt, wondering why his actions don't match his words. You may even start to blame yourself, thinking you're expecting too much or that you didn't communicate clearly. The negative impact of this behavior extends far beyond fleeting disappointment. It undermines your sense of security in the relationship and leaves you feeling unimportant. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of waiting, hoping, and being let down. Worse, it creates a growing imbalance in the relationship where you're investing your energy and trust while he offers only fleeting words with no substance. A partner who cannot follow through on their promises is not respecting your time, emotions, or the effort you bring to the relationship. This dynamic isn't just unfair, it's a betrayal of the foundation of trust that relationships are built upon. Trust is not just about honesty, it's about reliability. When his actions fail to align with his promises, it's a sign that he's either unwilling or unable to offer the commitment you deserve. No one should feel like they're chasing after empty words while their partner remains indifferent. The solution is to protect your emotional well-being by valuing actions over words. Pay close attention to patterns in his behavior. Does he consistently fail to deliver on what he promises? If so, it's time to prioritize your self-respect and step away from the uncertainty. When you center your life around your own growth, you regain control of your happiness. Shift your focus to people and pursuits that enrich your life, rather than waiting for someone who repeatedly lets you down. Remember, your worth is not defined by his inability to act. It's defined by how you choose to honor yourself. As Epictetus wisely noted, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This principle applies perfectly to love. Words without actions are meaningless. A person who truly cares will show their intentions through what they do, not just what they say. In Stoicism, integrity is demonstrated through consistency, not grand declarations. A partner who values you will make an effort to align their actions with their promises because they recognizes the importance of building trust and stability. Imagine this. You've been in a relationship for a year, and he often talks about future plans. He promises to take you on a trip to celebrate your anniversary, and you're excited. You start planning, looking at destinations, imagining the memories you'll create together. But as the date approaches, he suddenly becomes distant. He tells you he's too busy and suggests postponing the trip. Weeks pass and the topic is conveniently forgotten. Initially, you feel crushed. You try to be understanding, thinking maybe he truly is overwhelmed. But as you reflect, you realize this isn't the first time he's done this. Birthdays, weekends, simple plans to have dinner, his promises often end in disappointment. This time, instead of waiting or making excuses for him, you take a different approach. You acknowledge the pattern and choose to prioritize yourself. Instead of sitting at home feeling hurt, you take the anniversary trip with your best friend. You laugh, explore, and rediscover your joy. You return with a renewed sense of clarity, realizing that you don't need to wait for anyone to honor your happiness. By shifting your focus from his broken promises to your own growth, you take back your power. His inability to follow through no longer controls your emotional state. You've shown yourself that you can create fulfillment on your terms. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius provides a guiding light. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In the context of love, this means seeking a partner who demonstrates their value through action. Don't waste your energy hoping someone will change. Instead, invest it in yourself and in people who prove their commitment through consistency. Your time, energy, and emotions are far too valuable to be wasted on empty promises. Every broken commitment is a reminder to protect your worth and prioritize relationships that are built on trust and action. If this resonates with you, take a moment to declare it by commenting, "My worth is not defined by empty promises." This simple statement is a powerful way to affirm your self-respect and inspire others to recognize their own value. Together, we can encourage each other to seek relationships that truly honor who we are and what we deserve. 3. Only present when convenient. True commitment means showing up not just in moments of joy, but also during life's challenges. When someone is only around when it suits them, when things are easy or enjoyable, it speaks volumes about their priorities. Being there for someone isn't just about sharing laughter on good days, it's about standing beside them during hard ones. If he avoids responsibility and disappears when you need support, it shows a lack of depth in his intentions. Early on, you might excuse his absence during tough times. Maybe you think he's uncomfortable with conflict or assumes you can handle it alone. But as the pattern continues, you start to notice that he's always there for the fun, vacations, parties, and date nights. Yet when life gets tough, a difficult day at work, a family emergency, or even a simple need for emotional reassurance, he's suddenly too busy or distant. You're left feeling unsupported, questioning why your needs seem invisible to him. This inconsistency creates a profound emotional toll. You begin to feel like your struggles are unimportant or inconvenient, which chips away at your self-esteem. Instead of being a source of comfort and partnership, he becomes a reminder of what's missing. A relationship like this forces you to carry emotional weight alone, while he enjoys only the benefits of the good times. This behavior isn't fair to you because relationships are built on mutual support. If someone is unwilling to stand with you in difficult moments, they're showing that their commitment to you is shallow. True love isn't selective. It embraces the full spectrum of life, both the light and the shadows. To reclaim your sense of self-worth, take a step back and assess the balance in your relationship. Does he only show up for the easy moments? Does he shy away when life requires effort and care? If so, it's time to reevaluate whether this dynamic aligns with what you deserve. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, not just when it's convenient for them, but because they value you deeply. Prioritize your personal growth by engaging in activities that bring you peace and confidence. Remind yourself that you're worthy of a love that doesn't falter in the face of life's challenges. Seneca reminds us, difficulty strengthens the mind, as labor does the body. Challenges in life and love are inevitable, but the right partner embraces those moments as opportunities to grow closer. A person who truly values you will step up during hard times, not step away. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, and in this case, that means choosing to let go of someone who cannot meet you with the same effort and presence that you bring. Imagine this: you've had a difficult week at work, juggling deadlines and feeling overwhelmed. You reach out to him, hoping for a kind word or even a simple gesture of support. Instead, he texts back hours later with a vague, "That sucks, hope it gets better." The next weekend, when you suggest spending time together to unwind, he declines, saying he's busy with his hobbies. However, later that evening, you see photos of him at a party with friends. At first, you feel hurt and frustrated. You wonder if you're asking for too much or if he simply didn't understand how much his absence affected you. But then, clarity strikes. You realize this isn't the first time he's prioritized his convenience over your needs. Instead of waiting for him to change, you decide to make a change yourself. You reach out to a close friend, share your feelings, and spend the weekend reconnecting with people who genuinely care for you. You also start reflecting on the relationship, asking yourself whether it truly supports your emotional growth. Over time, you find strength in prioritizing yourself, knowing you deserve someone who is there for you in every season of life. The teachings of Marcus Aurelius reinforce this mindset. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The same applies to love. Don't waste your energy waiting for someone to become the partner you deserve. Instead, focus on creating a life filled with people and experiences that bring value, joy, and unwavering support. If this resonates with you, let it be your declaration. Share in the comments. I choose to be with someone who is there for me, always. This affirmation reminds us that love should be a sanctuary, not a source of disappointment. Together, let's inspire others to seek the relationships they deserve, ones rooted in support, consistency, and unwavering care. 4. Avoidance of future discussions. A meaningful connection thrives on shared goals and a vision for the future. When someone avoids conversations about where the relationship is headed, it leaves you in a state of uncertainty, questioning whether you're truly part of their plans. Future discussions aren't about rigid timelines or ultimatums. They're about understanding whether you both see a life together and are willing to work toward it. At first glance, you might interpret his avoidance of future discussions as a need for space. Maybe you assume he needs more time, or you don't want to seem pushy by bringing it up too often. But over time, his avoidance becomes clear. Every time you mention moving in together, meeting his family, or even planning a vacation months ahead, he deflects the conversation or changes the subject entirely. Instead of clarity, you're left with vague answers like, "Let's see how things go," or "I'm not sure yet." This uncertainty creates emotional turbulence. You start to second-guess your own instincts, wondering if you're expecting too much or if you should just go with the flow. Meanwhile, the lack of clarity keeps you emotionally tethered, unable to plan your life because you're waiting for his intentions to align with yours. This lack of direction is not only frustrating but also unfair. It places the emotional burden entirely on you, while he avoids the responsibility of addressing the relationship's trajectory. This behavior is harmful because it signals a lack of intentionality. Love requires courage and commitment, and avoiding future discussions shows a reluctance to build something meaningful together. A partner who truly values you will want to include you in their future, not leave you guessing about your place in it. To reclaim your emotional balance and protect your self-worth, focus on initiating open, honest conversations about your relationship's direction. If he continues to deflect or resist, take it as a sign that his intentions may not align with your goals. Shift your energy toward nurturing your personal growth. Invest in yourself by pursuing hobbies, building strong friendships, and visualizing a future where your happiness doesn't depend on someone else's indecision. Recognize that your worth isn't tied to someone else's uncertainty. It's defined by the confidence you have in yourself and your path. Epictetus wisely observed, "Freedom is the ability to live as you wish." This applies to love as well. Being in a relationship shouldn't feel like being stuck in limbo, waiting for clarity that never comes. Instead, it should empower you to envision and create a future together. Stoic wisdom reminds us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our goals, and our ability to walk away from situations that don't serve our growth. Imagine this. You've been dating someone for over a year. Every time you bring up the idea of planning a trip for next summer or discussing what living together might look like, he responds with, "I'm not ready to talk about that right now." At first, you give him the benefit of the doubt, thinking he might need time to process. But as months pass, his reluctance remains the same, leaving you feeling stuck and unsure about your future together. One evening, after yet another vague response to a direct question, you make a choice. Instead of waiting for him to decide the fate of the relationship, you decide to take charge of your happiness. You calmly tell him that you value clarity and shared goals, and if he's unable to offer that, it may be time to part ways. While this decision isn't easy, it liberates you from the emotional exhaustion of uncertainty. You begin to focus on yourself, taking up a new class, reconnecting with friends, and rediscovering your independence. Over time, you find that your confidence grows stronger, and the space left by his absence opens up possibilities for someone who will share your vision for the future. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In love, this means recognizing when someone's avoidance of the future is beyond your control. Instead of clinging to uncertainty, embrace the strength that comes from choosing clarity and self-respect. Uncertainty can be paralyzing, but it doesn't have to define your journey. By valuing your vision and refusing to settle for ambiguity, you create the space for a relationship that aligns with your goals and values. Take this wisdom to heart and remember that clarity and commitment are the foundation of a meaningful connection. 5. Keeping you separate from his inner circle. When someone is truly serious about a relationship, they naturally want to include you in the most important parts of their life. This includes introducing you to their family and friends, the people who form their inner circle. It's not about rushing or forcing introductions, but about a gradual, natural integration that reflects their commitment and pride in having you as part of their world. However, if he consistently keeps you at a distance, refusing to let you meet the people closest to him, it creates an invisible wall that separates you. Perhaps he brushes off the idea with phrases like, "I'm not ready for you to meet them yet," or "It's just not the right time." At first, you might accept this, thinking he needs space or that he's being cautious. But as time goes on, the excuses pile up, and you begin to feel like a hidden secret rather than a valued part of his life. This behavior takes a toll on your emotional well-being. You start to question your place in his life and wonder why he's unwilling to share it with you. It may feel like he's compartmentalizing your relationship, keeping you in a box separate from his reality. This lack of openness diminishes the bond you're trying to build and erodes trust over time. A partner who keeps you separate from their inner circle is signaling hesitation or even a lack of intention to integrate you into their future. This dynamic is unfair to you. Love thrives on connection and transparency. By keeping you away from the people who matter most to him, he's withholding an essential layer of intimacy. It sends a message that the relationship is on his terms, leaving you to navigate a one-sided dynamic that limits emotional growth. To address this, focus on nurturing your value and confidence. You deserve to be celebrated and acknowledged, not hidden away. Have an honest conversation with him about how his behavior makes you feel and what you need to feel secure in the relationship. If he's still unwilling to bring you closer to his world, it may be time to reevaluate whether this relationship aligns with your worth. Spend time with your own friends and loved ones who uplift you, and remind yourself that you are deserving of a love that embraces all aspects of who you are. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, we are social animals. This sentiment highlights the importance of connection and shared networks in our lives. A serious partner will want to share their world with you, understanding that relationships are strengthened by mutual inclusion and support. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change, but also to let go of what no longer serves our growth. If someone is unwilling to integrate you into their life, it's within your power to step away and protect your emotional well-being. Imagine this. You've been in a relationship for over a year. While things between the two of you seem fine, you've noticed that every time you bring up meeting his family or friends, he avoids the topic. When he attends social events, you're never invited. At first, you tell yourself it's not a big deal. But one evening, as you scroll through social media, you see photos of him at a dinner with his closest friends. The caption reads, "Family night with my people." The realization stings. You're not included in the family he's celebrating. Initially, you feel hurt and confused. You wonder if you've done something wrong, or if there's a deeper issue you're not aware of. But instead of spiraling, you decide to confront the situation with clarity and strength. You calmly ask him why he hasn't introduced you to his inner circle and express how it makes you feel excluded. His vague response confirms what you already suspected. He's not serious enough to take that next step. Instead of waiting for him to change, you decide to focus on yourself. You reconnect with your support system, spend time with people who value and celebrate you, and create space for someone who will proudly share their world with you. Seneca's words provide a guiding principle here. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. This applies to love as well. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, celebrate you, and are willing to make you a part of their lives. If someone keeps you at arm's length, they're not nurturing the connection that love requires to thrive. You have the power to choose a relationship that honors your worth. Let this situation serve as a reminder to seek connections where inclusion, transparency, and shared growth are at the forefront. Celebrate your value, and know that the right partner will proudly make you a part of their inner circle, recognizing that love is a journey best shared openly. It's difficulty expressing emotions. A partner who is serious about you understands that emotional connection is at the heart of a strong relationship. This doesn't mean they need to wear their heart on their sleeve at all times, but it does require an openness to sharing feelings, listening to yours, and creating a space for vulnerability. Emotional intimacy is what transforms a relationship from a surface level into something meaningful and lasting. When he struggles to express his emotions, it can leave you feeling isolated, like you're trying to connect with someone through a wall. You might deflect serious conversations with jokes, avoid addressing conflicts, or downplay moments where emotional depth is required. Initially, you might rationalize his behavior, thinking he's just not used to sharing, or that he needs time to open up. You might even try harder, hoping your patience will encourage him to trust you. But as the dynamic continues, the emotional toll grows heavier. You start to feel as though your emotions are unimportant, that your needs for connection and understanding are being dismissed. His inability or unwillingness to engage emotionally leaves you feeling lonely, even when you're together. This emotional distance creates a gap that no amount of effort on your part can bridge alone. A relationship without emotional intimacy is like a house without a foundation. It cannot stand the test of time. This isn't just unfair, it's unsustainable. Love requires emotional reciprocity, and without it, the relationship becomes one-sided. If someone cannot share their feelings or connect with yours, they're holding back a vital part of themselves, leaving you to carry the weight of emotional labor alone. The solution begins with recognizing your worth and prioritizing your emotional well-being. Approach him calmly and express how his emotional distance affects you, using clear and compassionate language. If he's willing to work on opening up, be patient but set boundaries. Emotional intimacy is a shared responsibility, not a one-sided effort. If he remains closed off despite your efforts, it's essential to step back and focus on yourself. Engage in activities that nourish your soul, such as journaling, practicing mindfulness, or spending time with people who value emotional connection. Remind yourself that you deserve a relationship where your feelings are honored and met with mutual care. Seneca once said, "No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they do not have." This applies beautifully to love. If someone cannot offer the emotional connection you need, it's within your power to release that expectation and seek for fulfillment elsewhere. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our choices, our boundaries, and our ability to create a life rich with meaning and connection. Picture this. You're dating someone who seems perfect on paper. He's kind, successful, and attentive in the small ways, opening doors and remembering your coffee order. But every time you try to share something deeply personal, like a difficult experience or a moment of vulnerability, he shuts down. One evening, you open up about a challenge hoping for support or encouragement. Instead, he changes the subject, offering a dismissive comment like, "Don't worry about it, it's not that big of a deal." At first, you convince yourself it's just his way of coping or that he doesn't know how to respond. But over time, these moments accumulate, leaving you feeling unseen. Finally, you decide to address it. You sit down with him and gently explain how his responses make you feel unsupported. His reaction? He brushes it off again, saying he's just not good at this emotional stuff. Instead of pushing further, you make a different choice. You realize that you've been putting in all the emotional effort while receiving little in return. You decide to invest that energy into yourself, picking up a hobby you've always loved, spending more time with emotionally supportive friends, and reflecting on what you truly want in a partner. The shift empowers you, reminding you that your emotional depth is a gift, not a burden. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In love, this means focusing on connections that enrich your emotional well-being. A partner who cannot engage emotionally limits the depth and quality of the relationship, and recognizing this is a step toward finding someone who truly values and reciprocates your emotional energy. If this resonates with you, let's affirm it together. Share the powerful statement, "My love is a gift, and I choose who I share it with," in the comments. It's a reminder that your capacity for love and emotional connection is a strength, and it deserves to be met with equal depth and sincerity. Let's inspire each other to seek relationships that honor our emotional worth and bring out the best in us. 7. Imbalance in the relationship. A relationship built on mutual respect thrives on balance. When someone is serious about you, they show it through equal effort, emotional support, and shared investment in the partnership. Balance doesn't mean everything is always perfectly equal. Instead, it means both partners are willing to adjust and contribute in ways that strengthen the bond. True love is a partnership, not a one-sided arrangement. However, an imbalance arises when one person gives far more than the other, whether it's in emotional connection, time, or effort. If he focuses solely on his needs, particularly physical ones, while neglecting your emotional well-being, it creates a dynamic that feels transactional rather than loving. You might find yourself constantly trying to meet his expectations while your own needs remain unaddressed. Over time, this leads to resentment and exhaustion. The negative impact of this imbalance can be profound. You might start doubting your worth, believing that the love you give is only valuable if it meets his terms. This can drain your energy, leaving little room for personal growth and fulfillment. Such a dynamic isn't just unfair, it's emotionally destructive. A relationship that prioritizes one person's desires over the other's well-being is not a partnership. It's an imbalance of power and care. To address this, you must first recognize your inherent value and the importance of reciprocal connection. Acknowledge the imbalance and communicate your feelings openly. Express what you need in the relationship without fear of judgment. If he's unwilling to meet you halfway, it's a sign to redirect your focus toward yourself. Cultivate your own happiness by investing time in activities that bring you joy, nurturing friendships that uplift you, and embracing your individuality. By prioritizing your growth, you create space for healthier, more balanced connections. Epictetus offers profound wisdom here. Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. Recognizing your worth and acting in alignment with it is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. When you value yourself, you naturally gravitate toward relationships that reflect that value. Stoicism teaches us that our sense of self-worth must come from within, not from someone else's approval or neglect. Imagine this. You're dating someone who seems attentive and charming at first. He often showers you with compliments and affection, but you notice that his attention only seems to come when he wants something. He consistently prioritizes his own needs, whether it's intimacy, emotional support, or validation, while offering little in return. When you try to share your feelings, he dismisses them or changes the subject. Initially, you make excuses for his behavior, thinking that maybe he's just going through a tough time. You pour more energy into the relationship, hoping your efforts will encourage him to reciprocate. But nothing changes. One evening, after yet another one-sided interaction, you decide to step back and reflect. You realize that the dynamic isn't nourishing your emotional needs. Instead of continuing to give without receiving, you choose to prioritize yourself. You have an honest conversation with him, expressing how the imbalance has affected you. When his response is dismissive, you calmly decide to let go. You channel your energy into your passions, painting, hiking, or spending time with loved ones who genuinely appreciate you. Over time, you find that your confidence grows stronger, and you become more attuned to the kind of relationship you truly deserve. Seneca reminds us, "What progress have I made? I am beginning to be my own friend." In love, this means recognizing when a relationship no longer serves your growth and having the courage to choose yourself. A healthy connection is built on mutual respect, where both partners contribute to the relationship's strength and stability. Anything less undermines your happiness and hinders your potential. If this resonates with you, let's affirm it together. Share the statement, "I choose healthy and reciprocal connections," in the comments. This declaration reminds us all that love should elevate, not diminish. It's a powerful commitment to seeking relationships where both people value and support one another equally. Together, we can inspire each other to prioritize connections that honor our worth and bring out the best in us. Every relationship is an opportunity to grow, not only with another person, but also within yourself. Through the insights we've explored today, it's clear that recognizing the signs of a lack of seriousness is essential for protecting your emotional well-being and fostering personal growth. Understanding these dynamics allows you to approach love with clarity, intention, and self-respect. Remember, the Stoic principles we've touched on are not just abstract philosophies. They're tools to help you build resilience and peace in your relationships. Whether it's observing the balance of effort, prioritizing emotional intimacy, or letting go of connections that no longer serve you, these lessons remind us to focus on what we can control and to value ourselves. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Choose thoughts that empower you and relationships that uplift you. Use these lessons to practice self-awareness every day. Reflect on your interactions, honor your emotions, and set boundaries that protect your peace. When you choose to prioritize your own growth, you naturally attract connections that align with your values and bring genuine joy. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a relationship where you had to step back and reassess its value? What lessons did it teach you about yourself and your worth? Share your story in the comments below. It could be the encouragement someone else needs to make a positive change. Let these insights guide you, not just in love, but in every aspect of life. The path to a fulfilling relationship begins with recognizing your own worth and holding out for a love that truly honors it.